Hi, myself Ambili MS, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Sri Shankara Vidyapeetham College, Valayanchirangara. Let's study about the topic inheritance, extending classes, which is the fourth module in object-oriented programming with C++. Now, let's start. Reusability is an important feature of OOPS. It's nice if we could reuse something that already exists rather than trying to create the same all over again. It saves time and money. Thus, we can reuse a class that has already been tested, debugged, and used many times. Now, the definition of inheritance is the mechanism of deriving a new class from an old one is called inheritance or derivation. The mechanism of deriving a new class from an old one. The old class is referred to as the base class or superclass or parent class, and the new one is called the derived class or subclass or child class. The derived class or the new class inherits some or all of the properties from the base class. It has its own properties too and can also inherit the properties from the base class. There are different types of inheritance which is shown in the figure. The first one is single inheritance. It is the simplest form of inheritance. Here the base class has only one derived class, that is only one derived class is found from a base class. Here A is the base class and only one class called B is derived from the class A. The second one is multiple inheritance. Here a single class is derived from more than one base classes. A single class is derived from more than one base classes. Here class C is derived from class A and B. Next is multi-level inheritance. Here a derived class inherits from a base class that itself inherits from another class. That is, there must be more than one level of inheritance. And it is the best way to represent the transitive nature of inheritance. Here class C is derived from class B and the class B is derived from class A, more than one level. Next one is hierarchical inheritance. Here a single class is act as the base class and more than one derived classes are derived from this single base class. Here A is the base class and the classes B, C and D are derived from the class A. And the last one is called as hybrid inheritance. It is the combination of more than one form of inheritance. Here there are hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Now let's see the syntax for defining a derived class, which is class derived class name visibility mode base class name, which follows the body of the derived class. Here the visibility mode may be private or public. That is, we can derive the properties privately or publicly. In the first example, class A, B, C is derived from the class X, Y, Z publicly and is called as public derivation. In the second example, class A, B, C is derived from the class X, Y, Z privately and is called as private derivation. The third one shows that the default visibility mode is private. That is, if we are not specifying any visibility mode, then it will consider as private derivation. Now let's see the meaning of public inheritance. When we are deriving a class from a base class publicly, the public members of the base class become public members of the derived class. And private inheritance means when we are deriving a class privately, the public members of the base class become private members of the derived class. Now there is an important note that we can't access the private members of the base class. We cannot access the private members of the base class. Here is an example program for single inheritance using public derivation. Remember, single inheritance have only one derived class and only one base class. In this program, class B is the base class and class D is the derived class which is derived from class B publicly. Class B have two data members A and B and two member functions get data and put data, and all of these members are public. So all these can be derived to class D because it is public members. The derived class D contain a private data member C and two public member functions MUL and display. Now in main function, we only create the object of the derived class, that is the object of class D. By using this object, we can access or we can call all the members of class B because it is publicly inherited and become public in the derived class. Thus, by using the object D, we can access the data members in class B, base class which is A and B, and the member functions get data, MUL, put data and display in main function. This is an example program for single inheritance using private derivation. Here, the derived class D is derived from the base class B privately. Now the public members A, B get data and put data become private members in class D. So it can't be inherited. In main function, we only create the object of the derived class D. But here we can't call the members in the base class B because it become private in derived class. In derived class, we can call the member functions in class B. In main function, we can call only the derived class functions. What can be done if any private data needs to be inherited? This can be achieved by modifying the visibility limit of the private members. C++ provides a third visibility mode called as protected. A protected member is accessible by the member function within its class and any class immediately derived from it. And it cannot be accessed by the functions outside these two classes. Here in the class alpha, three visibility modes are used: private, protected and public. The private members, which is optional and is visible to member functions within the class and cannot be inherited. The protected members, which is visible to member functions of its own class and derived class. And the public members, which is visible to all functions in the program. Now, we can derive the members of a class as public derivation or private derivation or protected derivation. In the figure, the leftmost column shows the base class visibility. That is, in a base class, there may be private, protected and public members. These members can be derived using public or private or protected derivation. A private member cannot be inherited in any way. So in the row private, not inherited for all the derivation types. A protected member can be inherited as public or private or protected derivation. In public derivation, the protected members of the base class become protected in the derived class. In private derivation, the protected members in the base class become private in the derived class. And in protected derivation, the members become protected in the derived class. Thus, a public member also can be inherited as public or private or protected derivation. In public derivation, the public members in the base class become public in derived class. In private derivation, it becomes private in derived class. and in protected derivation the members become protected in derived class. Now let's continue the types of inheritance. We have discussed about single inheritance. The next one is multi-level inheritance. Here a derived class become a base class of another derived class that is in more than one level of inheritance. In this example, from the base class student, the class test is deriving, and from that class the class result is deriving. Here the class test is act both as derived class and as base class. Here we are using the public derivation. The members of the student class is inherited to the test class publicly, and the members of the test class is inherited to the result class publicly. Thus, all the public members in student and test can be called using the object of class result. Since protected members can be inherited to the immediate derived class, this cannot be accessed in main function. Using the object R, we can call the functions getNumber, putNumber, getMarks, putMarks, and display. In this program, the display function calls the functions putNumber and putMarks, so no need to call these functions using the object. The next one is multiple inheritance. Here we are deriving a single class from more than one base classes. The syntax is class, derived class name, colon, visibility mode base class 1, comma, visibility mode base class 2, comma, etc. Then the body of the derived class. Now let's see an example program for multiple inheritance. Here class P is deriving from the class M and N. So we have to declare the classes M and N separately. Class M contains a protected member M and a public member function getM for assigning the value to M. Class N contains a protected member N and a public member function getN for assigning the value to N. The derived class P is declared by inheriting the classes M and N using public derivation. Here only one public function display. This function displays the value of M and N, which is protected in the base classes and can be accessed to the immediate derived class P. And the function display also displays the product of M and N. In main function, the object of the derived class, that is the object of P, is declaring, and using the object class, using that object, we are calling the functions getM, getN, and display. The next type of inheritance is hierarchical inheritance. Here only one base class, and from that single base class we can inherit more than one derived classes. In the example program, A is the base class and classes B and C are inheriting from the base class A as public derivation. The class B and C can access the public members in class A, that is the data members X and Y and the member function getData. The class B has a single function called a product for finding the product of the data members, and class C has a single function called a sum for finding the sum of the data members. Now we have to create the object of class B and C since both are derived classes, and using that object calling the functions getData, product, and sum. The next type of inheritance is hybrid inheritance. This is the combination of more than one type of inheritance. In this example, B and Y are inherited from class A, so there is hierarchical inheritance. B is deriving from A and C is deriving from B, so there is multi-level inheritance. From B and X, class C is deriving, so there is multiple inheritance. More than one type of inheritance are there. Here is an example program for hybrid inheritance. From the class student, class test is deriving. From the class test and sports, a class called result is deriving. So there is multi-level and multiple inheritance. And you just try to draw the connection between these classes so that you can find out the relationship between these classes easily. Here the object of the derived class R is declaring and using that object calling the functions of every base classes because it uses public derivation. The next topic is virtual base class. Consider the situation as shown in the figure. The child has two direct base classes, parent 1 and parent 2, which themselves have a common base class, grandparent. Thus, the child inherits the traits of grandparent through two separate paths, through parent 1 and through parent 2. It can also inherit directly as shown by the broken line. The grandparent is sometimes referred to as indirect base class of the child class. Here, all the public and protected members of grandparent are inherited into child class twice, first through parent 1 and again through parent 2. That is, child would have duplicate sets of the members inherited from grandparent. This introduces ambiguity and should be avoided. This can be accomplished by making the common base class, that means grandparent, as virtual base class while declaring the direct or intermediate base classes. Here is an example where class A is the grandparent, B1 and B2 are the intermediate base classes, that is parent 1 and parent 2. While declaring these classes by inheriting from the grandparent, we have to use the keyword virtual before or after the visibility mode. The child class, that is class C, can be declared by inheriting from base 1 and base 2. That means B1 and B2. Thus, when a class is made a virtual base class, only one copy of that class is inherited. Here is an example program. In the program, student is the grandparent, test and sports are the parent 1 and parent 2. So, it uses the keyword virtual while inheriting from the class student, and the class result is the child class. The next topic is abstract classes. A class that is not used to create objects is called abstract class. It only to act as a base class. Now let's study about the constructors in derived classes. We always create the objects of the derived class. The base class always acts as the abstract class, that is, we are not used to create objects. Thus, no need of any constructors in base class, and if any base class contains constructors, it is the responsibility of the derived class to pass the arguments to the base class constructor, because we are declaring only the objects of the derived class. Since the derived class takes the responsibility of supplying initial values to its base classes, we supply the initial values that are required by all the classes together when a derived class object is declared. Here, we have a special argument passing mechanism for passing the values to the base class constructors. The constructor of the derived class receives the entire list of values as its arguments and passes them on to the base constructors in the order in which they are declared in the derived class. the base constructors are called and executed before executing the statements in the body of the derived constructor. Now let's see the syntax. Derived constructor, in the bracket arguments, we are listing the arguments, then a colon, base 1 argument 2 argument 1 comma base 2 argument 2 etc. up to base n argument n, then the body of the derived constructor. These are the argument 1 argument 2 etc. are the arguments for the base classes and derived class. We are supplying the arguments after the colon. Thus the header parts of the derived constructor function contains two parts separated by a colon. The first part contains the argument list and the second part contribute the values to the base class constructors. Here argument 1 for base 1, argument 2 for base 2, argument n for base n, and argument d for the derived class. For example, the derived class constructor the derived class constructor D contains 5 arguments a1, a2, b1, b2 and d. Here a1 and a2 are the arguments for class A, b1 and b2 are the arguments for class B, and the argument d1 for the derived class. In the table, there is the method of inheritance and the order of execution. In the first example, A is the derived class and B is the base class. So the base constructor, that is the constructor of class B, is executes first and then the derived constructor executes. In the second example, we are deriving two classes. So the order in which they are declared in derived class is considered. B is the first base, so the constructor of the class B execute first, then C and then A. In the last example, it contains a virtual base class. The constructors for virtual base classes are invoked before any non-virtual base classes. Thus the constructor of the class C, which is a virtual base class, executes first, then B, then A. This is an example program for constructors in derived class. Here alpha and beta are two base classes, and from these base classes class gamma is derived. Class alpha has a constructor of having one argument of type integer, and class beta has a constructor of having one argument of type float. Now it is the responsibility of the class gamma to supply values to the constructors of alpha and beta. Thus gamma uses a special type of argument passing mechanism. Here the constructor of gamma have 4 arguments. The first integer argument contribute to the constructor alpha, the second float argument contribute to the constructor beta, and the next two integer arguments are used to initialize the derived class members m and n. In the main function, the object of the class gamma is declaring by supplying the actual arguments. Here 5 is used to initialize the data member x of alpha, 10.75 is used to initialize the data member y of beta, 20 and 30 is for m and n in the derived class. Now let's discuss the last topic, which is member classes, nesting of classes or containership. If a class contains the objects of other classes, it can be called as nesting of classes or containership. In the example, alpha and beta are two classes. the class gamma contains the object of alpha and beta. Thus, all objects of gamma class will contain the objects of alpha and beta. Hope all of you got an idea about inheritance. Thank you.